What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another part of What If Minato and Kushina Survived. Before we get into the video, quickly guys, I just want to say that the like goal for today's video is going to be 500 likes, and once you guys smash that, I will be coming out with part 3 of the series. That said, though, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Okay, so picking off the story, we start everything off with Team 7 inside of Minato's office, right? Now, this would of course be after 2 weeks of worthless D-rank missions, and once they completed that, they would pretty much be tasked by Minato to protect the bridge builder on his way to the Land of the Waves arc, right? And pretty much what would be happening here is that once Tazuna enters the room, I don't think that he would come inside a drunk mess, because I generally speaking think that Minato probably would be able to like look at Tazuna, and the second he starts, you know, being like, oh, you Team 7, like what? You know, seeing that, you know, it's the son of the 4th Hokage that's actually going to be on his team. He has a Jonin. Tazuna feels extremely confident. Plus, he doesn't want to disrespect the son of the 4th, so he ends up kind of just remaining quiet, and thus we don't end up getting that introduction scene. And since Sakura is there, there's no real reason for him to pretty much poke fun at any of the members of Team 7. Well, except for Hinata, because she looks kind of useless until she actually begins fighting, because as we all know, Hinata low-key, she kind of got hands. But that's besides the point. What ends up happening following this is that Team 7 would essentially make their way towards the gate the next day, and once there, they would pretty much embark on their couple of hour journey, right? They begin the mission, and about 40 minutes into it, when they're not 40, let's say 2 hours into it, right? They're 2 hours into their mission. Sorry about that, guys, I have my notifications turned on. But let's say that they're pretty much going on their way to their mission, right? And just like you guys might be expecting, the demon brothers would actually end up popping out in front of them. However, this time around, because Naruto actually had the expertise and training of his father and his mother, mind you, he would definitely not be afraid of some random bandit kind of ninjas. So they would definitely be able to take out both the demon brothers, Sasuke and Naruto, with Kakashi faking his own death before then abruptly showing that, you know, the dude didn't exactly die. But they would continue their mission, because this time around, Kakashi is far more confident in the team. I mean, he has a team of literal just prodigies in himself. There's nobody there that's going to be able to get in their way, right? Which is what Kakashi would essentially be thinking. They would continue on with the journey, and eventually Naruto would notice some movement in the bushes. He ends up throwing a shuriken at the direction and finds that it's a white snow bunny. And immediately Sasuke would look to Naruto and say, "What are you doing, Naruto? You afraid of a bunny?" But Naruto would kind of stick his hand out as Kakashi would, you know, kind of be like, "Everybody down." And suddenly a gigantic blade would come flying in at them from a strange direction. Sasuke ends up having to dodge out of the way, and so would the rest of them, as they are then greeted to the sight of Zabuza Momochi, who would be standing above them and pretty much looking very, very much so menacing, right? The team at this moment would all be kind of realizing that they are not in a very good situation, and Kakashi would pretty much tell the team to stay back, as he says, "I'll handle it," right? Kakashi proceeds to essentially get into a fighting stance, and he would tell he would tell Hinata, Sasuke, and Naruto to essentially protect the bridge builder Tazuna, right? Now, Kakashi would rush in with the kunai in hand, and they would both immediately begin to fight with one another. Kakashi would use his kunai to deflect and parry the attacks of Zabuza while he's using his blade, and he would be able to hold his own up until the end, when Kakashi naturally would actually get caught in the water prison jutsu. And once this happens and Zabuza would actually create a couple of clones to go in and finish the business, Naruto and Sasuke both would be able to keep Zabuza's clones from getting to Tazuna, and the ones that might even dare to get close would definitely be able to be shut down by Hinata. So when it comes to the Zabuza clones, there's nothing to worry about in terms of Team 7. This time around, they have just so much more expertise and finesse when it comes to their overall jutsus that it's just a lot more easier. And Naruto, seeing Kakashi stuck in the water prison jutsu, would immediately sigh as he would say, "Kakashi, why would you like slack off in the training? You know, if dad told you not to, right?" Like, he comes rushing in, and he would pretty much throw a kunai at the direction of Zabuza, right? Now Zabuza would immediately parry out of the way, and it's at this moment that the kunai would turn into multiple kunais because he would have used a transformation jutsu on the kunai to turn it into a bunch of them, right? Now the kunais would then hit Zabuza, a couple of them nicking him and causing blood to be drawn, and a couple would actually stab into his leg, right? As Zabuza would be forced to let go of the water prison jutsu to avoid the most of them, and following this, Kakashi would finally unveil his Sharingan as he would begin to face off against Zabuza. This battle goes exactly like it does in canon, and we get the same scene between Haku pretty much taking Zabuza back. And this time around, Naruto would know far well that, Haku is not exactly a real tracking ninja, because Naruto this time around knows that real tracking ninjas do their job on the spot. They don't have to take their corpses somewhere else. No, they get rid of everything on the spot. So Naruto would be extremely, weary, but he would not say anything due to the fact that their team captain is out, and Minato has taught him better than to get overconfident and underestimate his opponents. Seeing as Naruto has no idea the strength levels of this person, he's unsure if he would even be able to handle it even with the help of Sasuke or Hinata. So he decides to essentially let Haku escape with Zabuza, and he knows that they will eventually encounter them once more. 2 weeks would pass and Kakashi would finally wake up, only to see that Hinata and Sasuke would have both ended up learning the water walking jutsu and tree walking. And it would have been extremely easy, seeing as Sasuke would have already known it and Hinata would have already known tree walking, so they kind of only had to teach her the basics of water walking, which she ended up getting down packed. And they would be working on team, like a team attacks, right? They would be working on their coordination and things of that sort. Why are they doing this? Because Naruto was taught from a very, very young age that he needs to be able to work with people together, and that his squad mates are going to be his pretty much family for the rest of his life now. Like, these people that are on his team, he needs to be able to protect them, and they all need to be able to fight as a unison earlier than everybody else can. That way they could be more than prepared for the Chunin exams once that ends up coming around the corner, telling Naruto that that's going to be happening very, very soon, right? And so Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke would have been outside working on that ability, and Kakashi would end up arriving with a smile on his face and crutches and stuff, right? And eventually a week would pass with them training together when suddenly the mist would thicken around the area and we would get a scene of Zabuza's return. However, this time he would be by the side of Haku. And because this time around Naruto wouldn't actually be present, because I doubt he would oversleep this time around, we are not going to be getting the scene where Naruto would be there to save Inari and his mother. Instead, Inari and his mother would actually end up getting captured this time, but I don't think that they would end up dying or anything like that. So I think that they're kind of just going to be pretty scared, and the revolt between the village people that were there in the original when they went up to Gato's men would not happen like it does in the original. Instead, we would actually get the full entirety of Team 7, and with Naruto being there, he would task Hinata with protecting the bridge builder, as Kakashi would fight Zabuza, and Naruto and Sasuke would both equally press Haku. They begin using taijutsu based attacks to keep Haku on the defensive end, and once they start realizing that Haku is actually a lot faster than them, they would both begin to get a little bit worried. But because Naruto and Sasuke are a lot more skilled than the ones that we would have gotten in the Land of the Waves arc, we would have a far more even battle, because keep in mind guys, this Naruto is not some scrub. Like, he is genuinely a very, very capable, powerful ninja. The basics that Naruto would have learned by the time of Shippuden would already be instilled in Naruto by an iron fist, that being his mother. And Naruto would even have access to a couple of Uzumaki techniques like the Uzumaki chains and things of that nature. So Naruto would be able to essentially use the Uzumaki chain jutsu to pretty much restrain Haku long enough for Sasuke to land a successful fireball jutsu, or so he would think, as Haku would use a substitution and get the upper hand on them by using the crystal mirror jutsu, right? Once trapping both Naruto and Sasuke inside of it, they would both kind of be screwed, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but they would both end up ultimately trying their best to break out of it. But once they realize that they can't exactly do that, Naruto would decide that the best course of action would be to essentially, maybe try to use a wind style jutsu as well as a fire style to create a fireball jutsu so powerful that it might be able to break. And they would do so. They create a gigantic fire style jutsu that all I'm gonna say is would actually be extremely effective, right? Because it's like the wind is kind of like amplifying the heat, And because the wind is doing that, we would get a larger fireball, which would actually create a little bit of scuff on the ice. Like it would kind of like melt it slightly, but because Haku's ice mirrors are actually regenerative, they would not be able to see the the damage for too long, as it would just quickly heal itself, right? And once Naruto notices this, he realizes that this is not going to be an easy battle whatsoever. Naruto and Sasuke would both get into a very, very high intense combat style, and what would end up actually happening is that they would both be pretty much fighting for their lives in there, right? Haku would be throwing Senbon after Senbon, and this would lead Sasuke to eventually end up going into his two Tomoe-like state. Two Tomoe in one eye, one Tomoe in the other one. And this would lead Sasuke to be able to dodge the Senbon a lot quicker. Naruto would be doing this out of sheer speed and sheer just predictability when it comes to where the Senbon are going to be hitting. And they would do a very, very good job, even making Haku have to go into like mid speed level inside of the mirror jutsu. And eventually Naruto, after having more and more anger rise to the surface, would ultimately not be able to keep the Nine Tails' power in check, but because he does have that training from his mother for the last couple of years, it's not going to be taking over him like it would be in the original. Naruto would go into like the slight cloak version of the Nine Tails, and with this power he would be able to punch Haku straight out of the ice mirror, knocking him clean out, as Kakashi would end up actually landing a piercing Chidori into the chest of Haku. Now, why Haku? Because Haku would have woken up once, very quickly after being knocked down, to sacrifice his life for that of Zabuza's, right? And then we would actually end up getting the speech with Naruto telling Zabuza that it's all wrong, that, he doesn't want to ever be as strong as Zabuza if he's ever going to become as cold as he is, saying that, it's messed up to do that to the person who loved you more than anything, right? Giving him the speech where Zabuza tells him that, his words cut more than any blade. I think personally that is one of my favorite Naruto moments in the series. One of the first moments of the Naruto Talk no Jutsu, most OP ability in the series, was displayed, and I just love the moment. Like it's so heart-wrenching. You can truly feel the emotions on Zabuza with the art style and just the way that everything is portrayed in the scene. I don't know, I just find it perfect. Zabuza from here would actually go on to slaughter the majority of Gato's men, and it's at this moment that Team 7 would go into the town, only to save Inari and his mother from the tyranny of Gato. Following this, Team 7 would end up actually returning back to Konoha with the Great Naruto Bridge still being named after Naruto, and them returning to Minato, with Minato asking how their mission went. Minato would actually be quite shocked to realize that Tazuna had lied about the ranking of the mission, but he would be happy at the fact that his son actually got to go on a B rank and was actually successful with it. They would brief Minato in on the situation with the Nine Tails and it slightly leaking out of Naruto, and Naruto would say that it wasn't a big deal, that it wasn't even a full tail, and just a slight cloak that the Nine Tails gave to him because he felt a little more rage than he was used to. Naruto would end up kind of telling that to his father, and Minato would be like, "Oh, I understand, Naruto." As from here we would pretty much end up getting Naruto and the team being told about the Chunin exams, and him telling Kakashi if they're going to pretty much be putting them in. Kakashi would immediately say that of course he is, and then he would turn to the direction of the team, asking them if they are ready to participate in the Chunin exams, right? And all of them would immediately be like, "Oh yeah, like of course we're ready to participate in the Chunin exams." Like Hinata knows about it, Sasuke would know about it because of his father Hugaku, and Naruto would know about it because of his father Minato, right? And so all of them would accept the terms and conditions, and Naruto would end up returning back to his house, only to be met by his mother asking him how his first mission went. I see a scene something like this happening where Naruto walks in the door, right, and Kushina would immediately pull him in for a tight hug, as she's like basically cuddling him like a little baby, and Naruto would slightly get annoyed just because he's older now, he doesn't really like that stuff too much, but he's kind of like having a little bit of like an embarrassed look on his face, and he hugs his mom back and tells her about how everything went, how Kurama tried to go a little bit crazy, and Kushina would say, I get it, but he wouldn't say Kurama because Kushina doesn't know the name, only Naruto did in the future. But basically what ends up happening is Naruto would ultimately be able to essentially have a brief talk with his mom, and then suddenly Minato would walk in through the door saying, "Hi family," as he gets briefed on the mission a little bit more extra details, and Naruto would be there to pretty much just start bragging to his dad. Honestly, like he just starts hyping himself up a little bit too much, telling his dad about how he did this and how the mission was super successful, and you guys get the point, yada yada yada. But Ultimately, what would actually end up happening following this is the trial for the Chunin exams, which means a situation where a ninja would actually attack them. Sasuke, Naruto, and Hinata would pass this test with flying colors, and eventually they would find themselves in the doors of the Chunin exams. Once they're walking in, they would actually run into a boy with bushy brows who would immediately end up challenging Naruto to a fight, saying that he wishes to fight the son of the fourth Hokage. And Naruto would look to Lee as he would tell him that honestly, like that's a cool idea, but the thing is that they need to conserve their stamina for the actual Chunin exams, that if they were to fight now, they would both be at a weakened state for the Chunin exams, and that he thinks it would be a lot smarter for them to simply meet up in the Chunin exams themselves to both pretty much work hard and be able to meet themselves in the ring. Lee would actually end up agreeing with this, and thus Sasuke wouldn't actually end up getting humiliated this time around. Not that he would, because this time he's actually around the same levels of strength as Lee, and so is Naruto, which means that this wouldn't have been a one-sided stomp regardless. But now that the tables are slightly changing a whole lot more because of their two very different upbringings this time around, and Sasuke actually being able to train with Itachi, Sasuke would be a lot more of a prodigy in this version that y'all could ever imagine. And it would begin showing soon, but for now, we're just going to be jumping into what happens once they begin to test. Now, the written part, boring, we're going to skip over that. The interaction between Anko, Orochimaru, and Naruto, not going to happen. Now, why is that not going to happen? Well, it's simple. Orochimaru is not about to come to the Chunin exams to try to take Sasuke's body, and that is for one of two reasons. Number one, Minato. Number two, Minato. Number three, Minato. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, number one is Minato, and number two is the fact that there is a surplus of Uchihas. This time around, since Sasuke isn't one of the last ones, nor is Itachi, Orochimaru doesn't have to force himself into the village and try to destroy it as it is now. Not to mention that Orochimaru is more than smart enough to realize that he's not actually going to be lighting a candle to Minato, the fourth Raikage, and that trying to ambush it would be pretty much as futile as ever. And so the Chunin exams would actually be a normal event. This isn't going to be some high stake arc where we're going to be getting like crazy stuff happen. Instead, we're just going to be getting a good old fashioned tournament arc, and the scroll process would be rapid for the team 7, because this time around they don't end up encountering the Sound Squad or Orochimaru, and they don't have to get the curse mark to Sasuke or any of that stuff. Naruto and Sasuke, as well as Hinata, would all be able to split up, go get a scroll separately, and then make their way towards the tower, breaking the record that even Gaara set. And you guys might be thinking that that's a little excessive, but the reason that I say that is because Gaara was actually messing around, killing as many people as he could, instead of just making his way towards the tower as soon as he ended up finding the scroll. So I think that because of that, Naruto and his squad would actually be able to beat that record, and so we would get a scene where Minato would pop out, or no, not Minato, but Iruka and Kakashi would pop out of their scrolls, and they would congratulate Team 7 on their efforts on passing the first stage of the Chunin exams. They would be allowed entrance into the area where they could actually rest for the next couple of days, as 2 days would pass and the rest of the Chunin exams participants would actually end up arriving, leading to the semi-finals. The semi-battles happening, because there would be way too many people in the actual stands. And what would end up actually happening is that Naruto would get matched up against Kiba, just like he would in the original. However, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure you guys already know where this is going, so I'm going to quickly run through how I think this fight would go. Now, we all know Kiba, he's very hard-headed and he likes to strike first, strike hard, no mercy. So I think Kiba's immediately going to start off by telling Akamaru, let's do this, and we would get this scene where Akamaru kind of like transforms into Kiba, and they would use the Fang over Fang attack. Naruto, seeing this, would immediately parry out of the way, and Kiba would continue trying to rush at him with that strange jutsu. Naruto would jump up into the air using wall walking, would be able to jump up and create not thousands, but a bunch of clones, like let's say 50 at minimum, right? And these clones would be able to rush in at Kiba and essentially tank the attack long enough for Kiba to pretty much get out of that Fang over Fang state, right? Now, Naruto, once he sees this opening, would immediately take this opportunity to shoot a earth-style jutsu at the direction of Kiba, as Kiba would be shook by the fact that the earth would begin shaking. It would be like a tremor-like jutsu, a small one. And then Naruto would actually end up throwing a bunch of kunais at the direction of the opposite direction Kiba jumped in. On the other side, he would end up shooting a wind style wind bullet jutsu. And once he would get in closer to Kiba after knocking him down with the wind style, he would use the wind style gale palm to actually catch Kiba off guard and end up securing the dub for the battle, right? But once this happens, everybody else would have their battles go down just like it would in the original, and thus we would now pretty much be jumping in to the training arc for the 1 month period. Now this time around, because Sasuke is still, he still has a Sharingan and stuff like that, and Sasuke's clan is actually there, he's not going to spend his entire time with Kakashi, and instead Kakashi is actually going to be trying to teach Sasuke the Chidori. He would spend about a week with Kakashi, a week with his brother, and a week with Fugaku, training to become even more powerful than he already is, unlocking brand new fire style jutsus, unlocking a couple of more jutsus, and pretty much developing his taijutsu skills and copying Rock Lee's after the incredible battle between himself and Gaara. However, this time around, I think Minato watching in the stands would be more than enough to actually get in the way and save Lee from actually getting his arm and leg crushed by Gaara's sand. So I think that one good thing to come out of this is that Minato's not going to let somebody die in the Chunin exams if he can prevent it, or let somebody get injured beyond repair if, like I said, he could prevent it. So that's not going to be happening this time, and thus we would end up getting the 1 month training arc, where this time around Naruto would actually end up training with Jiraiya because he ends up returning to the village, and because Naruto already met Jiraiya a couple of times, he would be able to have a good couple of days training with Jiraiya, and he would actually end up learning the Rasengan during this time, as well as beginning to try to learn the very basics of the Flying Raijin. And using the Flying Raijin as of this moment is very hard for Naruto, and it drains a massive amount of chakra from him. Not enough to keep him out, but it definitely drains a hefty amount. So Naruto isn't very inclined to use the Flying Raijin yet because he's very bad at using it. So he would kind of learn it, but not really, considering its chakra drainage. But because of this, Naruto would take his training very seriously, and the way that I see this going down is Minato spending a lot more time with his son, and ultimately having a really cool scene where Naruto learns better the adamantium Uzumaki chains, and would end up learning a couple of jutsus from his father, spending time with Jiraiya, and hanging out with his friends that are part of Team 7 overall. That said though, ladies and gentlemen, what ends up happening after this is that we finally make our way towards the day where the actual battles would go down, and what I see happening here is essentially Naruto actually getting matched up against Gaara. Now why Gaara? Because I don't want Naruto to fight against Neji this time around. I think it's going to be a little bit too easy of a battle, and because Naruto's not going to be facing off against Gaara this time in the forest, I kind of want Naruto to face him off here, with Gaara to actually be able to transform in the Chunin exams, and Naruto to be able to face him at full power. I think that would be a lot cooler than just telling you guys about how Neji gets stomped, because trust me, he will. I mean, Sasuke's already going to do it for Naruto, so yeah. But anyways, the battle proctor would look at the direction of Naruto, and Gaara would both be in the ring, and he would immediately say, "Hajime!"